Hello. Welcome to this new video. This time I want to go over passkeys authentication or go over the concept of passkeys, and I'm sure that perhaps you have heard of that term and that passkeys are going to be able to replace passwords, and you may be asking yourself, how is a passkey that is also referred to as passwordless going to be more secure than a password? So let's talk about passkeys, and what I have here, I have a simple network diagram. As always, this is oversimplified, and in the background I have my Windows 10 device with a couple of sites that support passkey authentication, as you can see right here in this section. When you go to the site, there's an option that says log in with barcode, and in this case use passkeys. Or if we go to PayPal and we try to log in, you're gonna see the option that says use passkey. Or even if you go to Amazon, you're gonna see the option of using passkey, as you can see right here. Now let's talk about passkeys, because if you follow my channel, you know that I have created many different videos in password security, password protection, password cracking, password testing, so on and so forth. And that is true. Now the question is passkey bulletproof authentication? It is more secure. It is going to replace the passwords, and it should replace the password. But at this moment, passkey is limited. Not all websites support passkey authentication. And not only that, you have to understand how it works to feel comfortable using that. But before I go into the demonstration, let me come here to my Windows computer one more time. And this is not unique to Windows. Windows has the option of enabling Windows Hello, as you can see here. And when you enable Windows Hello in the background, Windows automatically is going to enable the ability for you to use passkey authentication. And with Windows Hello, you're going to be able to use either your facial recognition or fingerprint recognition, or you're going to be able to set up a PIN to connect to enable passkey. In this case, it would be on this Windows machine, and then you're going to be able to use the service and integrate the service with the sites that support passkey authentication, as you can see here. I am not going to be demonstrating how to enable this because it's super simple. Just click on it and enable it. But I want to talk about the concept of what's happening in the background when you have passkey authentication, and not only that, why I believe everybody and you should consider enabling and using passkeys when available for you to use. So again, passkey is an improvement to a password authentication. Let me go over this simple authentication mechanism that we have here. As you can see, we have a Windows or a machine that wants to authenticate to the bank, right? So the user is going to go directly to the bank and it's going to type in the username and password. So we have a user right here, and the user is going to do that. So what's going to happen is that these communications, as we have talked in the past in other videos, this communication that's going here could be intercepted by an attacker by using a man-in-the-middle attack, and could potentially be able to steal that information. Now, that is conceptually, because a man-in-the-middle attack in this scenario is a little bit difficult to set up, but it's not impossible. And there are many mechanisms that this could be prevented from happening. What I see, or what's happening more than this type of attack, is that attackers have been able to create a fake website of the website that the user is trying to connect, and then the attacker is gonna capture all the information the user is typing in on that website. So let's say that this user right here wants to log in to the bank or any other website and types www.mybank.com. Now, as you know, there's going to be a DNS resolution process to resolve that DNS name to an IP address, and then that computer is going to be able to access that server based on the IP address that was provided. So what attackers are doing, they are trying to come up with a more with an easier way of intercepting this connection, because as I mentioned before, it is not that simple. It takes a lot of work to do that, and they may not be able to get it on time. So what they've been doing a lot of DNS spoofing, right? So with DNS spoofing, and again, DNS spoofing takes place in different locations of the communication. They could perform DNS spoofing at the local level of this host by various different means. So when the user goes to www.mybank.com, in reality, they're going to be redirected to myfakebank.com, which is going to look the same as this website right here. That is one way that they could do that. Another way that I've seen a lot, and actually I created a video on that, is that when users type in mybank.com and they don't type the URL on the search box, on the address bar, but they type the URL on the search box, they're going to get different results with websites that, are mybank.com. What I've seen a lot happening lately is that attackers have specific targeted campaigns on certain websites. So when users type in the site that they want to go to on the search box instead of the address bar, what's going to happen is that they're going to pay for search engine optimization, and their fake site, which is going to look very similar or the same as the legitimate site, is going to be one of the main options that is going to come up. And what most users do, and I have to be honest with you, I've done it too, they click on the first option because it looks similar, and when they get access to that page, it is the same look and feeling as the same page of the original site. So what's going to happen is that the users, in one way or another, right, be it by DNS spoofing or being by search engine optimization techniques and social engineering, users are going to connect or are going to be redirected to the fake site that's going to look the same as the original site. They're going to be prompted to enter the username and password. And when they enter that information, there's an attacker right here monitoring that connection. And as soon as that username and password is entered into the login box, the user is going to get that information. So what the user is going to do at that moment, as you could see right here, this is going to have to be something very targeted. And if not very targeted, it has to happen live. Because what the attacker is going to do, he's going to have the username and password, and the attacker is going to go to the legitimate site using the legitimate credentials that the user typed in on the fake site, and is going to authenticate to mybank.com. Now, if the user did not enable multi-factor authentication, the attacker is going to be able to log in successfully. However, if the bank forced the user, and I'm saying that because even when it is an option, many people do not enable multi-factor authentication. But there are some websites that they forced you to implement multi-factor authentication. So if the bank, right here, if the user has multi-factor authentication, meaning that the user is going to receive an SMS message or a notification on one of his devices to authenticate that session, the user is going to receive a text message, right? So this bank is going to send a text message to the provided telephone number of the user, right? So the bank is going to send SMS to the user. But remember, the user does not know that he's not logging into the legitimate site. The user believes he is logging into the legitimate site, but in reality, he's logging into the fake site. So when the user types in that receive the SMS message, he's going to have the option of entering the SMS message right here on this site, right? The site is going to prompt, please type in the SMS message. The user is going to type in the SMS message. Again, the attacker is going to see that SMS message, 456, and then the attacker is going to grab that authentication, the other second factor authentication, because remember, the attacker has the login box right here on the original site, and he's going to be able to type in the SMS message and gain access to the account. So as you could see, passwords are secure in a way, but they're not secure for the type of technologies and systems that we have nowadays. So that's one of the main problems with passwords. The other problem with passwords is that people forget the password. So what have organizations or systems done to improve password security? Make them more complex, longer password, which defeats the whole purpose, because then users are saying, you know what, I don't want to remember another password. I don't want to remember a long password. So what developers have done is, you know what, I'm going to make your life easier, and we're going to allow the web browser to store your passwords. And that's kind of like useful, but it's going to also defeat the whole purpose. It's not going to accomplish what passkeys are going to do. So passkeys is a cryptographic mechanism that's going to take place on your systems in the background. By cryptographic, it means that when you enable passkeys, right? Either here on the websites that support that and your computer, what's going to happen is that you're going to enable a cryptographic authentication mechanism that is going to happen in the background, where a private key is going to be stored on the local device that you are using, right? We're going to call this the private key. And the public key is the one that is going to be sent to the remote site for authentication. Now, let's say that this bank.com allows passkey authentication, or as you could see here, we have a couple of websites that support passkey authentication. We have Discord, PayPal, Amazon, so on and so forth. So if you enable passkey authentication, let me come back to my diagram. So we have passkeys, and the passkeys for using Windows Hello, whatever. Then let's say that you enable that with a PIN, right? When you enable passkeys, you're going to be able to use a PIN for that. And then this bank also supports passkey authentication. So when you authenticate from your computer to this device, you are not going to be sending the password or of the account that you created on this website. What's going to be transferred from your computer to that website is the public key, which is you're going to have two keys. The private key is going to be stored on your computer, and the public key is going to be stored it's going to be authenticating you in bank.com. So let's go back to the original scenario that we had, right? Let me come back here that we talked about let me put it on red because red means like trouble. So right here, when a user is going to authenticate, and let's say that again, like DNS spoofing happened, or search engine hacking, I don't even know what the term of that would be, happened, and the user clicked on the malicious site, and instead of going to mybank.com, again, the user is going to myfakebank.com. The attacker is going to say, you know what, I got you the first time, I'm going to get you again. But this user is a user that has become wise and saying, you know what, somebody got me once, they're not going to get me again. So they enable passkeys. Now remember, the passkey cryptographic pair key is between this computer and this site, right? Mybank.com. So let's say that the user did not become aware, again, that he or she is going to the fake website, and they type the username and password if they are prompted for that option. The attacker is gonna get that information right here, right? The attacker is gonna get the username and password. But if the user comes here and the user selects login with pass key, and the user clicks on that, what's going to happen is that the computer is going to realize that this site, my fake site, is not the other end of the cryptographic key that was created between these two devices, right? Remember, these two devices created a cryptographic session with a public key and a private key. And right here, you're going to have the private key, and when the user tries to authenticate or clicks on using passkey, they're going to say, you know what? This site is not legitimate because it does not have the public key authentication on the system, on the cryptographic key pair. And what's going to happen, that session is going to end right there. The user is not going to be able to log in because it's going to be proven to be an illegitimate site. So the attacker is going to have to go and find somebody else because this time it didn't work. Now, this is a great advancement in password and authentication that is taking place right now. This is not a new technology. It's been around for a couple of years, but it has not been embraced widely. It's going to be one of those things that is going to take time, but more sites see the benefits of this, and they're going to be using that as the years go by. So if you have the option of using passkey authentication, you should use that, considering the benefits that it's going to provide. Now, this was an overall explanation of passkeys. There are more details that I would like to talk about, and I'm going to save those for another video. If you found this information useful, consider subscribing to the channel. Click on the like button, and why not leave a nice comment. And if you don't have anything nice to say, you can always save that comment to yourself. Thank you again, and I will talk to you on the next video.